Hello everyone. Hope you are doing well. My name is Chinmaya and I welcome you back to part 2 of this two-part crash course on data visualization in Flourish. In part 2, we will build upon what we have learned in part 1. If you have missed part 1 of this series, you can watch it using the link in the description below. In this final part, we will look at how to visualize survey data and also to create some interesting charts like the Sankey chart, the photo sliders, and also learn how to build a Flourish story from scratch. So let's start part 2 by looking at how to visualize survey data. I have an Excel sheet here that has data of a questionnaire that was administered to 1000 people. I have modified this data from the default data on the Flourish site for this kind of a chart. So what we have here is that we have administered a questionnaire to 1000 people. We have recorded their gender and their name and how they have responded to each question. So these are the questions that we have asked, and if they have responded positively to a question, the value recorded is 1. If they have not responded positively to that question, the value recorded is 0. So we have administered these to 1000 people, both men and women, as you can see. So there are 1000 rows and there is one row for the title, as you can see here. You will find that there is also another sheet here. So we can see these questions. Each of these questions can be visible here. This is titled as grouped questions, this sheet. So I'm going to click on this. So you can see that we have asked people which issues deeply concern you, and there were individual questions. One was recycling, one was climate change, another question was sustainability, housing, unemployment. So if an issue was of deep concern to a particular person, they would check this on the questionnaire, online questionnaire, and their response would be recorded as 1. So here we have columns that are needed, and I'll explain why they are needed. We can analyze data very easily if we have this sheet in terms of groups. So basically, this is the generic question. These are the individual questions. Which issues deeply concern you? So these are the individual options. If somebody chooses that option, 1 is recorded as a response and it will be included in our survey display. Otherwise, we have a 0 here. And for the purposes of display, this column has just taken out these values and it will just show them as recycling, climate change, sustainability, housing and employment. So let's head to Flourish and try to see how we can visualize this survey data. So we are going to come to new visualization and just scroll down and pick up from the survey templates, grouped questions template. So I'm going to come here and click on this. There are other templates also that you can pick up. So when this template opens, you can see this is 1000 dots. So this is the default data, and they have also collected weight and height of every participant, which I have deleted. And I have changed these questions. The original questions were which animals do you like, snake, badger, and you will see that there are other tabs here. One of these tabs is grouped questions. So they have grouped their questions and I have just changed them to my questions as I have shown you before. So let me upload my data. So this data, because it is comprising of 2 sheets, it will be uploaded in 2 passes. The first one, we will upload the data for survey responses. So I'm going to come here and click on upload, and then I'm going to click on my Excel file. Because there are 2 sheets, it's showing me that there are 2 sheets and which sheet do I want to import first. So because I had clicked on my data tab, I will import my data in this particular sheet. So continue and import, and as you can see, 1001 rows, 1 for the header and 1000 for responses have been added, and it is now wanting me to check the columns. So this is an important step. As you can see, it is picking up data assignment from the previous default data. So I'm going to come here and specify columns from C to G. as my question responses. So I'm going to come here and just simply say my data is residing from column C to column G. So I've specified my data residing from C to G. So these are all categorical columns. This is important. I don't have any continuous columns like weight, etc. So you will see now that all my columns, the 5 questions and the gender, they are all part of the categorical columns. And my label column is B. So that's quite okay. So let me just come here and click on the grouped questions tab. It is still carrying the old data. So I will upload my data now. I'm going to click on the same sheet. And this time around, because I'm uploading data to the grouped questions tab, I will just click on grouped questions and click on continue. So the grouped questions sheet from my Excel file will now be imported here. As you can see, 6 rows have been uploaded. So it is identifying this correctly. Group name is this, questions is B, display is C, and answers to include is D. So I'm going to come here and click on this. So I can see all my 1000 participants, each represented as a dot in this particular chart. Now, because I have properly categorized my data here, and you will notice that the label is B, which is the name of the participant. So when I mouse over, I can actually see this dot belongs to this particular person and the gender is male. So I can see all my respondents here. So what I can do now is to come here to group by, and I can now click on the question group. So it will show me all the responses for each of the questions that was put to the 1000 participants. And then I can come down and shade by gender. So if I wanted to see how males and females have responded to each of these questions, I can easily do that by shading it with gender. And just to make this a little more clear, I'm going to choose a different color palette here. So as you can see, you can clearly understand that the response to the first 3 questions, the female participants see this as an issue that deeply concerns them. All the environmental questions like recycling, climate change, and sustainability. And visually, the number of males who have answered this question as one of deep interest to them is much less as compared to the number of female respondents. When you come down to the housing and unemployment questions, you can see that for this sample data, there is an increased interest of male respondents for the housing question as something that deeply concerns them. And of course, females have also responded in the affirmative, but their number is much less. And as far as unemployment goes, this is an issue that appears to be of equal concern. Even though visually you see that female respondents appear to be more, this can be a little misleading because the total number of respondents in the outer circle also could be equal to the ones in the inner circle. So what we can do is we can come to compare and choose in this box gender. So now you have the response to each question, and you can see very clearly that for the first 3 questions, the number of female respondents is much higher as compared to the male respondents. For the housing question, the male respondents have indicated that this is an issue that concerns them more deeply as compared to female respondents, which are a few in number. And for the unemployment question, you can see that both males and females have responded in equal number. So you can switch this off and revert back to your previous chart like this. So you can analyze survey data very easily using group survey template as I have just shown to you. So there are quite a few other customizations that you can explore here, and I will encourage you to do so. But then this is how you can visualize survey data in Flourish. So let me now show you an interesting data visualization. I have sample data from 4 countries, China, US, India, and France. and this data has been taken from a British Petroleum report. So this data shows you the dependence of each country on different fuel sources like coal, oil, hydro, wind, solar, and so on and so forth. It's for the year 2021, and it is showing you the share of energy in terawatt hours. I have also created another column to indicate the percent share if you wanted to use that particular column. So this is the basic data sheet that I have for the year 2021, the dependence of each country on different source of fuel, just to compare fossil fuel load as compared to renewables. So you will see the same data repeating for different countries. So I have this sheet here and I want to visualize this in a diagram. So let me just close this and let us head to Flourish. And I'm going to click on new visualization. And I will now show you an interesting diagram that is called a Sankey diagram. So I'm going to pick up this template. There are other templates also. You can explore them later on. So I've picked up the Sankey template and it comes with default data which you can examine. So it is just basically 3 columns of default data. There is one source column, there is a destination column, and there is a value that is connecting the source to the destination. So Sankey diagrams depict flows from one set of values, that is the source, to another set of values, that is the destination. And they are frequently used to show many-to-many mappings between these two domains. So this is how a Sankey diagram basically looks. So let me just come here and upload my data to show you the Sankey diagram. And the data that I had shown you is in this Excel sheet. So I can just come here and click on open and just simply go ahead and press import. So 33 rows of data have been uploaded. So as you can see, we now have to assign columns or make sure that the columns are properly understood. So the source is the entity, that is the country, and the destination is the energy source. So B is in the target box and the value is in column D, which is the share of a particular type of energy for a country in terawatt hours. We can also choose this share as a percentage column for the value link, but I'm going to go ahead and just simply keep the value column to be D. So I'm connecting a country to a source of energy and using the share in terawatt hours as the connecting value. So you can see the diagram being shown here. So these are the 3 things that I need to set up or make sure that they have been correctly entered here. What I can also do is to put a column that I can use as a filter. So if I wanted to see only for one particular country or for just one particular kind of energy source, I can enter that column here. Let us enter A for country and we can see the share only for that particular country. So we can add a column in the filter box also. So let us now go to preview, and this is what a Sankey diagram basically shows you. It is showing you the country on one side and the energy sources on the other side, and it is just drawing pipes based on the quantum of numbers. So as you can see here, if I just mouse over China, you will see that there is a huge dependence on coal and oil energy. Likewise, if I hover over India, you can see the share of energy for different types, and this is for United States. So you can see that there is a tremendous dependence on fossil fuel energy at this particular point in time. Because we added a filter column, we can also see these independently. So this is the Sankey diagram for China, and the width of the pipe shows you the dependence. So you can see that coal and oil combined, including gas, constitutes the major fuel type that is being used for energy production, and renewables are currently lower. Same can also be done for India, and you can see the dependence on different types of energy also for United States, oil, gas, and coal, and When you come to France, you see a very different picture. You will see that there is a substantial dependence on nuclear energy in France as compared to other kinds of energy. We see a very little amount of coal-based energy being produced in France. So we can come here and click on all, and you can see many to many mappings between countries and the kind of fuel that they are depending on to produce their energy. So this is a Sankey diagram, and you can customize the colors and labels using some of these options. If you click on animations, you can alter the speed or duration of the animation. When you load this chart initially, it displays, say for example, if I load it for China, you will see a little animation. So you can increase the duration of that animation, that is, make it play a little bit slower as compared to the previous version. So you can make it play a little slower or faster from here. So this animation that you are seeing on your screen, I have slowed down because I've increased the duration of that particular animation. So there are numerous other controls that you can add, including a header and footer, as we have discussed before. And once you are done, you can give this a name, and let us call this as energy Sankey diagram. And we are now good to click on the export and publish button. If you click on this, this chart will get published as I have explained before, and you can share the link with other people or use this code to embed it on your particular site. So this is how you can create an interesting data visualization in the form of a Sankey diagram. So you can experiment with some of your own data and try to create a Sankey chart. Let's now look at another interesting kind of visualization. This is a little different from conventional data visualization. So let us just click on new visualization, and I'm going to go down and choose the photo slider visualization. So what it does for you is that it permits you to compare a before and after photograph. And there are three options. One is spotlight, one is fader, one is slider. You can actually, irrespective of what you choose from here, you can actually convert it to fade or spotlight. I'm going to come and click on slider. So I have chosen the slider template. So when this template opens up, you will see that there is no data for this kind of visualization, but a slider bar. So as you move your slider to the left or right, you can see a change in before or after conditions between these two photographs. So as there's no data sheet here for this particular visualization, you have just two photos that you have to provide. Photo 1, you can provide a link or upload it, and photo 2, and you are good to go. And you can choose between fade or spotlight, and as you keep moving, you will see a spotlight. If you click on fade, you will see a small button, so you can choose this between two photographs. And the first one is slide. So this gives you a slider. So we will stick with slider, but you can opt for any of these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in two sample pictures that I have created for this demonstration. I'm going to come on photo 1 and click on this. And I'm going to click on one picture here that I have grabbed from Google Earth. So this picture is from an area in central India. So as I upload my first photograph, you will see that it's visible here. It's a satellite picture that I have taken from Google Earth. So you can see this. The second default picture is still there. So I'm going to go and change this. So for photo 2, I'm going to click on this button here, and I'm going to choose my next photograph. So I'll just click here and give it a little time. So the second photo has also loaded. So you can see here that in 2010, this area was having practically nothing. So as I slide on to the right, you see my second picture, and this area is now having a very large installation of solar panels, and all these are solar panels that have been installed. So this is how you can use the slider visualization. You can compare two pictures from two different dates, and you can show your audience how things have changed over a period of time. we can customize this a little bit. So if you come and open slider settings, you will see that this circle can be increased by increasing the size of this particular slider handle, or decreased to your liking. And you can also change the color of this circle. So if you wanted to have it in a different color, you can change that particular color. If you wanted to have an image inside this circle, you can click on image and then click on this button and upload an image to convey to the viewer what exactly you want them to do. So this is a double arrow, so it is indicating to the viewer that they can move it left or right for the people who are not really very familiar. And if you want to increase the size of this image, you can do that by increasing the size here. So you can fill this slider handle with either color or image, and you can also alter the thickness of this line. So if you want to make it a little bit finer, you can alter this, or if you want to make it a little bit thicker, you can alter this again. And you can also change the color of this line. So if you want this line to be of a particular color, you can do that quite easily using options that are available. And as I have described earlier, you can also add some kind of source to your data by going to footer and just simply mentioning the source. You can also provide a link if you wanted to. And what you can also do is to mention the name of your company. So you can come down here to note and click on note secondary. This is put on a separate line. So as you can see, your source is now being reflected here. If you click on the central alignment, you will see that it is now centered to the picture, and you can just put in the name of your organization if you wanted to. And you can also add a logo. So you can come here and click on enabled, and then just simply come here and choose a logo, and that logo will appear here. So you can have some of these options, and of course you can always go and choose header and type in a title. Now what I also wanted to mention was that for every visualization that we have created so far, we can also press this button here and create a story out of that particular visualization. So let us just try to do that and quickly understand how we can create a story in Flourish. Just click on this tab, and what you will see here is something like Microsoft PowerPoint or LibreOffice Impress. And because you started with a visualization, it has inserted the first slide as the one that you started with. And you can see that you have access to this slide. It is working properly. Now you can add more slides to this story. So I'm going to click on this new slide option here, and I have two options. I can either insert a basic slide, which means I can enter text and pictures, and any slide I can duplicate using this button here, or delete. So I can add some text and some picture like a normal PowerPoint slide if I wanted to create a title or bring in something here to explain my story. I'm going to delete this slide. The second option on the new slide is to choose an existing visualization. So if I click on this, you will see a lot of visualizations that we have already created. So let me just come here and click on one of the visualizations that we had created earlier. So I'm trying to build my story, and I have the contribution of solar power generation, a visualization that we had created in this tutorial earlier. I can add another visualization that we have created, which is the energy Sankey diagram. So I can just click on it, and that visualization is also added to my story here. And I can reorder these slides. So if I wanted to convey this as my first slide, I can do that quite easily by moving these slides or repositioning these slides wherever I want by just simply dragging and dropping. So I can create a story, and I can give this story a name. So I've just given a name to my story, and I can then just simply go ahead and start playing it. So I will just click on my first slide, and I can play my first slide Then I'll move on to my next slide, and I can show my next slide just like a PowerPoint or Impress presentation. And then I bring up my photo slider story, and I can explain to my audience how there is a push towards solar power generation, and I can keep adding more slides to complete my story. And once I'm happy, I can just simply come here and publish this story to share or embed, and people can watch this story, or I can present this story. I can also add a caption on every slide, as you can see here. What you can also do is, if you are not having a lot of interactivity and if you want this slideshow to play on its own, you can click the autoplay button right here, and then you can click on this button which says play on load, and you can also loop this particular show. So as this show starts, it will show you this slide for this duration, as you can see here, and then it will move on to the next slide, and after 5 seconds going to move to this next slide. So for this slide, if I wanted to have a higher duration, I can just stop this and then click on this slide, and because I want to illustrate interactivity, I would like to hold this slide for 15 seconds. So I've clicked on this slide and given a duration here, and this slide will be shown for 5 seconds. This slide will be shown for 5 seconds, but this slide will be shown for 15 seconds. So you can change the timing on each slide depending upon your preference using this box right here. So this is how you can create a story using visualizations and slides and publish them on the web using Flourish. For the final segment, let us now try to create a map story. So to create a map story, I have an Excel sheet here, and I have information about 3 major oil spills that have happened on the coast of USA. So what I have here is the name of the oil spill and the latitude and longitude where the oil spill happened. So the Deepwater Horizon oil spill happened at this location. This was the year when the oil spill happened, and I have a photograph link for this oil spill which I have put in this column, and this is from Wikimedia. I have also included a link to a marker icon, and I'll explain this a little later on. Here you will find some information that I've taken from Wikipedia about the incident. So this is the information part, and this is a link where people can actually go and read a little bit more about this particular incident on Wikipedia. So here I've just captured the summary from Wikipedia, but if people wanted to learn a little bit more about the incident, so they can go to this particular link. So I've created a few columns, and this is basically describing these 3 oil spills, and I have saved them in an Excel sheet. So this is the sheet that I have created. So let me now start to create my map story. And the first thing that we need to do is to create a map visualization before we can start creating a story. So I will just come here and click on new visualization, and I'm going to go down right to the bottom, and here you will see some marker map templates. So I'm going to pick up this template. This is photo marker map template. So I'm going to come here and click on this, and I have my marker map template available to me. This is currently showing some locations. So let us just have a quick look at the data part. So it is having, this is the default data that Flourish provides for this template. You can have a look at it and explore this. So these are some locations in London, and as you can see, their latitude, longitude is given here, and a photograph link is provided here. So this is the data that is provided by default. So I'm going to import my data, the sheet that I have shown before of the 3 oil spill incidents. So I'm going to come here and click on upload data and click on oil spills and click on open. So it is ready to import from oil spills sheet. I'll go ahead and click on import, and it has imported my data, and it wants me to now make sure that the columns are correctly represented. So this is the same sheet that I have shown before, Deepwater Horizon oil spill and Exxon oil spill, latitude, longitude, year,
photo URL, marker URL, and info about that particular incident and the link to that particular info. So the exact same sheet has now been imported here. Let us just check whether everything is in order. So the name is coming from column A, which is correct. The latitude is column B, longitude is column C, which is correct. Let us just make sure that we enter the photo URL, which is coming from E. So I'm going to enter column E in the photo box. And let us just make sure that the extra info is coming from column G, which is this column. So some of these columns have to be filled here. You need not fill in everything. And the marker column is F. So if you want to add this, we can try this also. And I think we are good to go because we have represented all our columns correctly in these boxes. And let us see how this looks like. So I'm going to come here and click on preview, and I will refresh this map. So I'm going to click on this, and as the map gets refreshed, I can now see these incidents. They are barely visible at this particular point in time, but I can see these incidents and an inset map on the coastline of US. And we will try to fix all these things. This little button here, just click on it and it will just orient it to the north. So this is now the correct perspective. You can move the map to fit in everything, and you can zoom out a little bit such that all the incident locations can be seen on the map that you are creating. So this map is automatically generated because you have provided latitude and longitude. So the locations and this map is automatically created for you in the background. So let us fix this map and make a little bit more visible and to our preferences. The first thing I'm going to do is to come to base map and then click on the map style. And I'm going to click on this drop down and come right down here. And I'm going to make this particular choice Clocantech Basic. So you can try some other options as well. So let us just choose this option. And the moment you do this, your map is now much more visible. You will have to double click on this to make sure that it is facing north, and you can just make it a little smaller or bigger by pressing Control and your mouse wheel, or by using these buttons to make sure that all the locations are visible. As you can see here, I can see all the 3 locations. Now we can just go ahead and click on this slider here, customize layers, and we can make some changes here. So one of the things that we want to switch on is display labels. So you can see some important cities and some important labels as you zoom in and zoom out. So that is one of the things that we want to do here. And we can also increase the font size. So if we can just come here and increase this, so you can see that the label font size can be controlled from here. I'll let it be as it was in the default. So these are some of the changes that you can make from the base map type. Essentially, we have just changed the map style. Next, what we're going to do is come to labels, and we can increase the size of our labels, the 3 incidents that we have highlighted. And you can see that the size of this text has increased. And we can also choose to customize this label style. So we can choose the label color, and let us just choose it to be red such that it is visible. So we can choose the same color for the halo effect and just simply reduce halo width, etc. So what we have now here is colored labels that are now much more clearly visible on the map where these incidents have taken place, and we can increase the size of these a little bit more. So these are some of the things that you can explore on this particular drop down, the labels drop down. Now you will see that there are no markers visible here, even though we have provided a link to markers. If this doesn't work, we are going to load a picture of a marker. So we'll just delete this and click on another cell and then come back here and then right click and upload a file. So I've already downloaded a picture of a marker. I'm going to click on this and press open. And you will see that this picture has now been uploaded. I'm just going to drag this and copy it for the remaining cells such that the same marker becomes available. And when I go to preview, I can now see markers visible here. So I can open the marker option here and then increase their size by increasing the scale of the marker. So you can see that these incidents are now having a marker as well. Now this inset map is not really contributing anything very substantial. So I'm going to come and expand my inset map and just simply switch it off. So this is how you can switch off an inset map or bring in an inset map. We can also click on the pop-ups and panels option here. And in this particular case, we can supply a column that will populate the pop-up once we mouse over a particular region. So you have to make sure that this option is set to pop-up and the content is set to custom. And when you're coming here, you can just type in some kind of header here. So I'm going to come here and just clear this box completely and type in a header. So I will just write incident details as my header. And here you have to provide the name of the column which contains information that will make up the content of the pop-up. So you have to give this in a specific manner. And this is case sensitive. So make sure that you type in the name of the column exactly as it appears here. In our case, the column that contains information about each incident is the info column. So I'm going to come here and type in 2 curly brackets followed by the name of the column in exactly the case as it appears on the column, and then close it with 2 curly brackets. If you want to know a little bit more about the syntax of how you have to enter this, you can just mouse over here and you will have information about the syntax. So once you are done, you can click on any other box. And now as you bring your mouse on top of the marker, you will have a small pop-up that has a header and content inside the pop-up. And you can see these details for every incident. So this is how you can create a pop-up. So just double click on this button and you now have a full view of the 3 incidents. We can now give this a name and call it major oil spills, and our visualization is now ready. So this has been added here and we can now proceed to create a story. So I'm happy with this. Now I'm going to start creating a story. So I'm going to click on this and my map is now visible here. And the first thing I'm going to do is to just bring it back here. This keeps getting disturbed, so that's not a problem. And once you have your map correctly displayed, this is your first slide. I'm going to just come here and duplicate this slide. So I have created a duplicate of this slide. And now on the second slide, I have clicked and selected the second slide. So after selecting my second slide, I am going to first zoom in into this particular area. So I will just press Control and using my mouse, I will just zoom into this particular area. This is the first incident that I want to narrate about. So I've just used a copy of this slide and zoomed into this particular area. Now I can add a few things. Let us say, for example, I wanted to add a picture and some details about this incident. That is the Deepwater Horizon oil spill. So I'm going to click on new slide and click on a basic slide. So I will be adding information. So just double click on it. A basic slide is added here. And using this button, you can choose how you want to display content and picture. So I'm going to come here and click on this. So I have my picture on the left and some text that I can add on to the right. So let me replace this picture and I'm going to come here and click on this. And so this picture has now been added here and I can just come here and give a title. So I can pick these pieces of text from my Excel sheet also. I'm going to come here and just simply go ahead and paste it. And then this text I can just simply pick up from my info column. And what I can also do is just provide a read more from Wikipedia or whatever source I want to guide my users to. Just select this little text and just click on link, and then just simply go ahead and paste the link from Wikipedia or your original source, and you are good to go. So you have created slide number 3 here, and you have provided information. So now as our story starts, it will start from here, and then it will go to this particular place. We are now on slide 2, and then we move on to slide 3, which is providing information about this particular incident. What we can now do is to make a copy of this slide and then bring it down here and make one more copy of this. So after displaying the Deepwater Horizon last slide, I am moving on to my next slide, which is bringing me back again to the full view, and then I am zooming in to the next oil spill site, and then I can just come here and create another basic slide and have the same orientation, then go back again and change the picture. So this is my second oil spill picture, and I can come here and keep pasting text from my Excel sheet and putting it here. So I can come here and type 1989, exactly as I have done for the previous one, and for this one paste. So we have now a second set. We can now duplicate this slide once again and bring it right down here. So after my Exxon spill slide, I have the first slide, which is this slide, which is taking me back again, and I can make a duplicate of this and then zoom into this region to show that I will be talking about this oil spill now. And then I can come and include a new basic slide and put in information about the last oil spill exactly in the same manner as I have done before. So you can see I have created a story from a scratch. I can autoplay this story and play it on load and loop it. So once you start, it will start playing automatically. It will show each slide for this duration. You can alter the duration of every slide according to your preferences. And we have a full story about oil spills or any other subject that you wish to convey. So this will keep playing in sequence and for durations that are given for each slide. And we can stop it at any time and export and publish it and share it on the web using this link or embed it on a website.
I hope you enjoyed this two-part series. There is a lot to explore in Flourish than what I could cover in this crash course, and I hope this tutorial will help you get started on your Flourish journey. I would like to compliment Team Flourish for creating and generously sharing this great data visualization tool. I extend my warm greetings for the holiday season. Wish you all a Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year, and thank you for watching and appreciating content on this channel. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Take care and bye for now.